We're live. We're live. I like to let it count a few seconds because a lot of times I'm watching the thing and then like you miss the first 2 or 3 seconds because it's refreshing. Adam, good day, sir. Or what is it? Good morning. Sorry.
It is morning, 9 o'clock. Yeah, daylight savings has changed things a little bit in terms of when I'm up and about, but and that'll change again in 2-3 weeks because our daylight savings ends.
Yeah, you guys go the other way.
Yeah.
That's atrocious. Can we get rid of all this nonsense? What?
Well, we even have over here certain states don't do it and certain states do. So
we do too.
Oh, you do too? Yeah. So
not many.
Yeah, I think and then some only do half an hour and some the dates are different. It's all weird over here.
That is completely and utterly bonkers. It needs to be done. It needs to be gone. My kids are like beyond screwed up from the whole thing. Anyway, whatever. That's not what people tuned in for. Hello, everyone. It's Mailbag Day. We haven't done this before. Adam and I thought we'd just shoot the breeze here for a few minutes in the afternoon, leading up to. Look, I'm jealous, by the way. You have basketball games that start at 10 a.m. your time right now.
We do, yeah. Yep. So that's
glorious.
It's really good. And I've been given the day off today, day off work. So I get to just, I'll have to do a few chores so that when my wife gets home, I'm not still sitting on the lounge where I was when she left.
Just watching basketball. And basketball's over by about 4 or 5 in the afternoon for you then.
Yeah, about what would it be now? Late game would be about 1 o'clock. So yeah, around 3:30, 4 o'clock, we're done.
Wow, that's magical. I am incredibly envious. Well, we got a couple mailbag questions that came before the show. We'll probably try to hit some stuff from the chat room as well. The pre-show mailbag, Adam, do you want to get us going with some of the stuff from our Hoopball Premium Discord? Which, by the way, if you guys want to know how to get into that, hoop-ball.com, get a Fantasy Pass subscription. We answer these questions daily for the Discorders, but you guys all get to see it here because, we felt like it today. What did you get over there? I didn't see them.
Yeah, so we got a couple, and as I said, I think I did accidentally answer them in the chat, but we can chat about them here. So the first one is, who do we rank higher for the rest of the season, Ricky Rubio or Delon Wright? I answered this fairly quickly, but what are your thoughts?
Delon Wright for me. I'm guessing that's where you were as well. I typed it so that I could put it on.
Oh, there we go.
I know. I didn't do the whole question. I just did the names. But D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley is this short answer to that one, right?
Yeah. I think I went right as well. I mean, it sounds like they want to get Killian Hayes back into the fold, but it sounds like they might play him off ball a little bit, which that'll be interesting. I think Delon will still be good the rest of the season. So,
and he's a straightforward whiz kid. Delon's great. He doesn't need 30 minutes. If he got 26, he'd still be fine because he does everything except hit the 3 ball. I love it.
Yep.
And we saw with Rubio too that before D'Angelo Russell got hurt, he really was not.
No,
he was not good this year.
No, he wasn't. And he could be traded. I mean, I've seen his names. A few teams are looking at him for a trade, so that could happen. But I don't think it does. I don't know if that improves his situation though. If he goes to a contender,
I don't know. Yeah, what teams are looking for a starting point guard at this point? I feel like the team that I always wanted him to go to was the Magic, but then they went the Fultz route. Fultz, of course, hurt this year, but I don't know what really good team wants a pass first point guard that can't shoot.
No, I
can think of one or the other.
Yeah.
Like the pass first point guard sounds good for teams that have some superstars that someone needs to get them the ball, but they also need to be able to space the floor around those guys. So Delon Wright for sure. What's the other one? I'll try to type it while you're speaking it into existence.
Okay, so I'm just sort of deciphering it here. So I think I talked a little bit about Nerlens Noel. So it's basically Nerlens Noel, Daniel Tice, or Gallo.
Oh, I went too short on my paraphrase.
You jumped the gun there.
I jumped the gun. So you had Noel,
Tice, or Gallo.
or Gallo, and this is a rest of season question?
I think so. Yeah. It's not really. It's not really specific whether it's rest of season or just right now.
Gallo right now. You guys know I love me some Nerlens Noel, but he's getting yanked around a little bit. He was great last night, which I adore. Tice is going to see a little bump here while Tristan Thompson is in COVID protocols. Gallo is seeing a huge bump while Clint Capella's out, but he was pretty good even before that. It's really sort of gauging length of value here. Gallo, you could see a drop-off when DeAndre Hunter and Capella come back. With Noel, you'll see a drop-off when Mitchell Robinson comes back. I think you see Mitch Rob hit starters minutes faster than DeAndre Hunter, and so that's why I think Noel probably peters out before Gallo does. So I'll take Gallo, but you guys know I love Noel, and I'll ride him until the wheels come off there.
Yeah, I probably agree. I think they seem to like Gallo. New coaching regime there has done wonders for him. So I think he's probably the guy I'd be looking at. And I mean, John Collins, we're still hearing that he may be traded, and he's open to being traded.
Sorry, that was echo. You got an echo for a second there. We're good. We're good.
Yep. So Gallo for me, yeah.
Anything else from Discord, or should we bounce over to the Twitter questions? I'll leave it up. All is in your court here.
No, there was one in there which is a strategy-related question, and I think I don't know whether you've had that question sent to you elsewhere, about a streaming strategy.
Yeah. Okay. So let's dig into that one a little bit. And this is a tough one for me to paraphrase if I'm going to put the question on the board in the chat room. So I'm just going to write the word streaming strategy, and we'll throw that up there so people know what we're talking about. This is called, if you don't have a running ticker on the side of your video that you're doing, you just type it in and you throw it on the board there. Jerry rigging, I think, is the term for that. So I don't stream that much during the regular season. We're kind of hitting the point now where, and I love your thoughts on this as well. People know me as more of a roto guy. I am in a few head-to-head leagues as well. I don't enjoy them as much, but I am in them. So at least you have to stay good at everything to be kind of on this side of the fantasy analyst wall. During the regular season, and I'm going to speak as though this is a normal schedule, that started in October. Oh, perfect. Thank you. That started in October and would normally run through April. I know this year was different, but normally October, November, December, January, almost all the way up until the trade deadline, I'm looking for guys that I think are going to be really good come head-to-head playoff time. After about the trade deadline all-star break window, that's where I start to look at where I am in the standings and make the call. If I'm in third place in a head-to-head league and I want that first-round bye, I'll start streaming immediately. And with that in mind, to address the question that's actually on the screen, I stream during the regular season up to sort of n divided by 2. So if you have 4 weekly moves on your limit, 4 divided by 2, I'll stream 2 roster slots. In the playoffs, I try to go actually just n-1. So whatever your number of weekly moves is, I'll go that number -1. So 4 moves, I would have 3 streaming slots. And what I said on the podcast was, and Adam, I'll stop monologuing here in a second, is it's not about just picking up and dropping guys that have a back-to-back over and over again. Because you can do that with 4 moves, but the most you can get out of that is turning 1 roster slot on your team into 7 moves or 7 games played in that week. That's great and all if you had someone with a 3-game week and you use 4 moves and turn that into a 7-game week. Great. Use 4 moves. You got 1 extra game for every move you made. If you have a couple of guys with a 3-game week coming up, you should be able to get more than 4 additional games with your 4 moves. So, take your 3-game week guy and figure out what days they're playing. Are they like Monday, Wednesday, Sunday? Because then on Thursday, make a move for someone who has 3 games the rest of the way instead of just 1. You've made 1 move. You've gained 2 games. Try to do that with multiple roster slots, and your moves don't have to be at the exact points in the week. Like you don't have to use them Monday and then use them all up on Sunday. On Saturday, Sunday, you can start to look at guys that actually stream into the following week. And I call that long streaming. I just made up a term for it. And I don't know, you and probably a couple other people know what I'm talking about when I say it. But basically, find somebody who has 6 games in 9 days, or 4 games in 5 nights, or 3 games in 4 nights, or 4 in 6, stuff like that, where that's actually still a streaming slot, because your intent is to drop that player at the end of that set of time. But you can now turn 3 guys on your team that might have combined for 9 or 10 games using 3 or 4 moves into 3 roster slots that now get you 14 or 15. So you can gain 5, 6, 7 moves or games in your week by just using 3 or 4 moves. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water. Did that make sense?
Yeah, it made sense. And look, I mean, streaming is such a loaded question because there's so many variables. It can depend on what format you're using or what platform you're using. So I know, for instance, Fantrax is generally more friendly with their IR eligibility. And even in COVID, basically, if they're ruled out for any reason, you can put them in an IR spot. Whereas if you're in ESPN or Yahoo, there's a waiting period generally before you can get them into a. There's a league that I'm in where I have Wiseman and Christian Wood. And Christian Wood's been in my IR spot forever. I want to activate him today because it sounds like he's going to play, but I was going to have to drop someone. So this Wiseman news is great because as soon as he was ruled out, I put him straight into the IR spot. Whereas that's probably not as easy in ESPN because they generally wait until they've had 2 or 3 games off before they sort of put that O next to their name. And I think using this year, I mean, it's not streaming specifically, but a lot of leagues this season have upped their IR spots in general. So gone from 1 to 3. So use those spots to your advantage and make sure you're really staying on top of who is injured, who is out, who's eligible, and just you can stream almost within your team. So you can have a few guys that you don't want to drop, but you can shuffle within your own roster and your IR spots to fill spots. And as you said, long streaming is another good option. That's something I did last week because we had 9 roster moves because it was an extended period over the All-Star break. In all of my leagues, I only used about 6 of my moves, so I had 3 left. So I sort of look ahead for the week and stream in thinking ahead of time. So I think that's another good idea as well.
Yeah, it's part of why I really love getting a first-round bye in your playoffs if you're in a head-to-head league too, because you can do stuff like that. Like I had a similar spot to you where last week during the All-Star duet, I happened to play someone who had a really big work project and forgot to set his lineup for 4 days. And so I was able to coast. And on Sunday, I used my moves to get a couple of nicks because they had back-to-back games Monday and Tuesday of this week. Just plan ahead. N divided by 2 is my max during the regular season unless you're really in trouble. And then go totally nuts come playoff time. You got to be so cutthroat. Last 3 guys on your roster. Just immediately consider them, I would say, expendable. Anything else from the Discord?
No, that's probably it. I think we can move on to the next lot of questions.
The tweeters, the Twitter question.
Yes.
Let's see, what do we got in there? What looks like a good one here? This is actually, I'm gonna see how this copies and pastes over, and if it translates terribly, then well, you know what? It looks weird, but we're gonna roll with it anyway. This is from J Ball, and yeah, the copy and paste was rudimentary and ugly. But basically, the question is, I'm first in my Roto League by quite a margin. It's not fun doing nothing when there's still half a season left. Basically, what should I do with the rest of my year? Should I make low-risk moves and just try to sort of hang out there, or take a shot and just lock it up? You guys basically know my answer to this question already. If you're in first place and you're in first place because you've been dominating people, don't do something crazy. You're more likely to shoot yourself in the foot than you are to just get super unlucky the rest of the way. We're a solid 60% of the way into the season now. In Roto in particular, where you've been able to build up a cushion, I am not swinging for the fences. Head-to-head, I might be a little bit more inclined because anything can happen come playoff time. You lose one guy for 1 week and suddenly your season's over. That doesn't really happen in roto. So head-to-head, yeah, you could get a little nuts, but roto, no. You've worked hard to compile this lead. Don't throw it away doing something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're more the roto expert than me. I think I'm only in one roto league or two. So
this year must be killing you then.
Yeah, look, I think I just keep myself busy with other things, and then I don't notice that my teams suck or
like 7 guys are on a COVID protocol.
Yeah, no, I just ignore all of that. Yeah, look, I agree. I think if you're winning for a reason. So why would you change something that's working? So I would just look to low risk moves. I think you will look to make moves, but no, don't try to make a big splash at this point. Just keep trucking along and with a goal in mind of winning the league, even if that means 2 or 3 weeks of not doing much. As long as you're holding your lead, then you're fine. Yeah,
just try to find some other means of feeling gratified by your fantasy league. Like you could roster churn your last bench slot that you weren't playing anyway, just to like stay active. Or here, I got an idea for you guys. If anyone else is out there and you're just like, you're in cruise control in your roto league, start looking at what the other teams behind you are actually trying to do. Are they moving guys in? That's a little weird. Are they attacking you in specific categories? Because you could actually start to sort of punch back in categories if people are trying to chase you down. So if you're bored, which is that's a good problem to have. If you're bored, just see what other people are trying to do and maybe you can kind of knock them back down a peg or two.
Yeah. And I would just say, quickly on that one, and I'm sure it's fine, but just make sure that just check your games cap, because I know I'm in a few leagues where there's guys way out ahead, but they've played 70 more games than me. And so I know from experience that a couple of people in leagues may overlook that games cap and may just go really hard really early. So if you are way ahead, just make sure that you're with you're sort of balanced with your games cap there.
That's the reason why. Yeah, totally. By the way, folks, I think there's some of you that probably haven't come to one of these shows before. So first of all, I hope you guys like our new setup here. We've got a fancy little background that is actually going to be updated here soon. That'll be even fancier. We've got higher definition video. I think that at least that's the way it looks on our end. So hopefully that's coming through on your end as well. We're just going to keep adding new stuff. I've been playing around with screen shares and things of that nature. We're not going to do that on today's show because I'm certain I'd screw something up. But to Adam's point, the games cap is critical. I adore it because a lot of people do ignore the games cap and they don't realize what like 20 to 30 games can actually mean as you're sprinting towards the finish line. First of all, you got to make sure you use all of your games in your games cap. Do not leave one damn game on the table. So if that means like, don't fall too far behind, especially in this sort of weird COVID year. And also use averages. When I say that, I mean, like, if someone else in your league has played 385 games and they have, 600 3-pointers, don't worry about the 600. Worry what 600 divided by whatever I said, 380 is. That's how many threes they're getting per game used. And you can actually compare that to your own. So hey, do I need to make up ground in this category on a per game basis? Or can I just keep doing what I'm doing and I'll pass them as we all sort of drive towards the end of the season? So that's a really neat way to make minor tweaks to your team. My favorite story that involves that was 2 years ago. I knew that there were like 4 teams that it didn't look that close. There was like a 200 or 300 rebound gap. But when you removed the games cap, everybody was basically right on the same rebound per game number. And so in that league, I started just yanking really good guards out of my lineup. It was a couple years ago. I think I had Kemba Walker. I just stopped playing him, even though he was far better than whoever I tossed in there, because I wanted to make sure that every guard I played and every utility guy I played was going to get 6 or more rebounds per ball game. And I ended up gaining, I think, 3 roto points on like the last 2 days of the season because I had gotten an early start on that and was able to drive up my rebound per game mark by just getting a little bit weird with how I was throwing my guys out there. But I think I've probably talked too much on this one. You want to do the chat room? This is always fun. We'll blitz through it.
Yeah, let's do the chat room.
All right. Well, this one is fairly straightforward. Yeah, I mean, you could sit on him at this point, right? He's going to play tonight. What are your thoughts? I don't think he's playing more than about 18 minutes, but he's playing, probably.
Yeah, look, I mean, we haven't seen him. He's been out a while. No Bagley. Give him a shot. If you've got a roster spot there and you've got a stream and you need blocks and rebounds, add him, see what happens. If he plays 22 minutes, 20 minutes and gets you sort of 3 blocks and 10 rebounds, then purpose served.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, click the subscribe button, which is probably somewhere over in, I can't point to it. It's probably under Adam's face.
It might be here.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Somewhere.
It's all backwards.
Yeah. We're all discombobulated here. Click the subscribe button. Please click that thumbs up button on this. That'll allow other people to watch it later. Maybe we answer some questions that they had, or at the very worst case, they'll be able to catch it the next time we get a live show going. I think Will and Brent or Will and Alan are going to have something going tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So click the subscribe button, set some alerts for the Hoopball YouTube page. You'll be able to catch it when our guys go live. Yeah, I mean, with Bagley out for a while and they're starting Tyrese Halliburton, so the Kings seem to be in no rush to get Nemanja Bjelica into more minutes right now, and he's on the trade block. And Barnes is on the trade block, and Whiteside himself is on the trade or cut block. A lot of things could change in the next 8 days in Sacramento. So whatever you do there, just, don't get sort of too tied to it. Yo! What's up, Rubens? Wanted to get Rubens a little airtime there. Patrick, let's go. We don't need to respond to these. I just think they're fun.
I just put them up. Yep.
Question for Patrick, by the way, who is going to be the focal point of upcoming Hoopball news, but I'm just teasing that for now. JJJ, if he does come back, that's a big if. What would you project for him the rest of the season in 9-cat? Oh, man. Adam, I got to let you answer this one because if I do, I'm just going to scream at people for drafting him after I yelled at everybody. I just screamed and I screamed in November. Don't draft injured players. One of them is always going to kill you. And he was the one this year. Like, Porzingis came back. Kemba came back. They've been okay to decent, but they never hit their marks, man. I think Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City was like the one time we saw a guy that was supposed to be out for a while to start the year, was just back in like 9 days and was quite good. The other 19 out of the last 20 times, it kills you.
Yeah.
I didn't answer the question.
No, I didn't. Well, it didn't answer the question, but it probably hinted at what your projection is for him. I would say, yeah. Well, I mean, look, the first question is if he comes back,
right?
I don't know. It's pretty. I remember him tweeting out at the beginning of January that he was like sort of cryptic tweets indicating that he was perhaps close. And that's 2 months ago, and we haven't had an update. So I would say if you're holding him, you probably have to just keep holding now. It's been so long. But I wouldn't see him being anything better than probably a maybe top 80, top 90 player when he's back. He's not going to be getting up to, if we had Jonas underneath us, he'd probably be arguing the point, but I would have him as a top 90 maybe. I don't see anything huge coming from him this season.
Yeah, I think with Memphis, they're trying to hang in there for the play-in stuff, and then I think they'd like to have him should they make any kind of playoff run or push. I think you probably see JJJ get up to full minutes for like the last 2 weeks of the regular season. That's my assumption here. So you're likely right. He might be at a top 50 clip for those 2 weeks, but the previous 2 or 3, he's probably more like top 100, 120, ramping up slowly. They're going to be very careful with him. By the way, you talked about Jonas. I think we got to shout him out for talking about Moses Brown a month ago He literally said the name on a real big three, and I was like, I don't know who you're talking about, dude. But then as soon as I saw that name appear on an OKC roster, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna watch this dude. And then we were able to. I think you and Ethan talked about him on the Waiver Wire show on Sunday, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, talked about picking him up. I didn't think he'd do what he did yesterday, but
yeah.
No, look, I've added him in a couple of leagues, so let's just see what happens.
Let's just see what happens indeed. Bobby's World. I hope you're referencing the cartoon from the 90s. Howie Mandel, 80s. That was an 80s cartoon, huh?
Probably. We never had that here.
Yeah, it was weird. It was Howie Mandel doing like a whole bunch of different voices, including a child's voice. I don't remember what happened in the cartoon. But Anthony Melton or Patrick Williams? Melton for me. What about you?
Yeah, I still have faith in Melton. It's unwarranted, but I have faith.
But that's the thing, though. I did a whole spiel on a Fantasy NBA Today episode about how DeAnthony Melton was like the only guard in the NBA that is inside the top 100 in 21 minutes or less. You see it with big men all the time because they can get 2 blocks and leap up the board. You never see that with guards. So, the minutes he's been getting, that might make it unwarranted, like you said, but his ceiling certainly makes it more than warranted. Patrick Williams, it's not clear that there's a whole lot of ceiling there. That, he seems fine, but, not super exciting.
Yeah. Melton's the 80th ranked player in the last 2 weeks in 18 minutes a game. So
it's nuts. Play the kid.
Yeah.
He looks fast, too. He looks finally healthy. These Grizzlies games, you watch him, you're like, ooh, Melton, and then suddenly he checks out for Desmond Bane. You're like, what?
Yes. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
The rage is building within for the fantasy community. This is like the Rashawn Holmes rage of a couple years ago.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
They get there eventually. And it's a little different than some of the other stuff where you see guys that are just like making rampant mistakes and we're yelling about why they're not getting playing time. He's not. He's been good. They've been better with him on the floor. Whatever. Killian Hayes, Cole Anthony, are they worth stashing? Format, I think, would make a pretty big difference here. Dynasty, I would stash Killian Hayes. Anthony, I don't think I'm stashing regardless of format. Orlando's probably on the verge of blowing everything up, and then he'll probably get to play a bit more. But I wasn't all that enamored with his stat set even when he was getting starters minutes. So I would say Hayes, Dynasty, Anthony, I don't know about, like, just try to be to the wire quick if they move their whole team at the deadline.
Yeah, I'm not. I had Anthony before he went down, and then I dropped him, and I'm not eyeing him off as a stash or anything like that. And Hayes wasn't great to begin the year. I think he'll be better when he comes back and once he's up to full speed. But in a redraft league, I'm not stashing either of those guys.
Yeah. I'll let you go first because I've been talking too much. Freddie VanVleet.
I can read it on the screen. I don't need to read the chat.
That's true. I've dropped it up there.
12-team league. Garland Wiggins. Should I make a 2-for-1 move or drop Wendell Carter? Yeah, Wendell Carter's an interesting one. I know he's been dropped in a lot of spots. He did start, I think, the second half yesterday over Thad. So I don't know whether that was a matchup thing or whether the Thad experiment is over. I hope the Thad experiment isn't over because I love having him on my teams. Should I make 2-for-1 move? Oh, look, I would probably consider dropping Wendell there, I think. We know what he's going to give you. He's going to give you sort of 8 and 8 with a block, decent field goal percentage, but you can probably get that off the wire if you're looking to stream as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think Wendell Carter Jr. is sort of a streamer level guy at this point. Yeah. So make your life easy. Just cast someone off into the ocean. It's going to take you weeks to pull off a 2-for-1. Those are hard to do in this day and age. Like you got to put a hell of a combo together if you're going to make that happen. Should I offer Chris Boucher for Kevin Porter Jr.? No, I'd rather have Boucher. I think the only fear there is if Toronto gets a big man in the buyout market or at the deadline. But I'd rather have Chris Boucher the rest of the way. Kevin Porter Jr. is doing some really good stuff. Rockets are still going to screw around with playing Wall a bit more here before they shut him down. And yeah, I'd rather have the guy who's sort of locked in. Although, good. You're right. This is a sell high and a buy high. I'd lean Boucher over KPJ. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. When I initially read it, I thought it was Michael Porter Jr. and I was going to say Michael Porter Jr., but Kevin Porter Jr. Yes, I would go Boucher there, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. Boucher, top 50, Porter. I mean, he might end up in there, and you might end up seeing this as a fairly even trade, but I don't know that Kevin Porter Jr. is going to win this. That's where I'd sort of.
And Christian Wood is back, so he's starting tonight, and so is Daniel House. So, couple of players back for them there. So that's going to take a little bit away from Porter, but I mean, they're still going to give him tons of minutes. That's pretty obvious, but
yeah. A lot of teams involved in the Victor Oladipo stuff. Someone would probably come back that they're likely going to play, unless it ends up being just for picks and salary. I'm sure they're looking for a young player. Like I'm sure they'd look for Tyler Hero if it was Miami, or I don't know, might be Kelly Oubre if he goes to the Warriors or something like that, where you got to get some contract matching. And if they're younger, that's just minutes. So yeah, you're just a little bit safer on the Chris side. Luis, Al Horford, Mason Plumlee, Larry Nance Jr. head-to-head ranks, which means we do have to consider rest days. And with that in mind, I got to put Horford at the bottom on this one. Much as I love him, Big Al, old man squad, team leader, old man alpha team leader. He's probably playing about half of their games the rest of the way. And you can't keep up if other guys are playing an extra 10, 11, 12 minutes. Hello, mostly naked child of mine. I got a visitor in this one. You need to unplug that thing? Here, let me help you with that, kiddo. You're welcome. That's very nice of you. Okay, there goes that boy. That's my 4-year-old running in his underpants to take a charging tiny little children's camera and run off with it. Finishing my thought, Larry Nance being traded, I guess, is the concern there, but I think he's just going to play because the other options for the Cavs are horrendous. So I'll go Nance at the top, then Plumlee, then Horford, just almost exclusively based on how much time they're going to get.
Yeah, per game, I would change it up. If you're simply looking at per game value, I'd probably move Horford to the top. But but yeah, it's pretty obvious that Horford's even sitting non-back-to-backs. So whether that is because they're going to look to trade him, although he hasn't really been a hot trade topic. So
no, a lot of money left on his deal.
Yeah, so no, I would be the same there. I would have Nance, Plumlee, Horford, just based on those missed games.
Paul McCall, love a good rhyming name. 13 Cat. I got nothing for you, Paul. I'm sorry, dude. We got to jump your question because I have no idea what those 4 extra cats are. If we're going 9 Cat here, you're talking about Sadiq Bey, Josh Jackson, Nick Batum, Daniel House Jr., Bruce Brown. My streamer in 9 Cat would be probably Bey because he's trustworthy, or Josh Jackson. I mean, that's...
Yeah. Kyrie's out tonight, though, so maybe if you're looking at just tonight, maybe Bruce Brown.
Yeah, good point. Kyrie squatting on this one with a groin thing. DeJounte Murray or Kevin Porter Jr.? I'll go DeJounte Murray. What about you?
Yep, DeJounte.
Oh, crap. A lot of questions came in. All right, we're going lightning round here because we got to wrap it up in about the next 5 minutes or so. Melton versus Heat or Pat? Oh, Bobby, we got you, man. We got you earlier on. Don't worry. Team you are most excited to watch in the second half of the season, fantasy or reality? Thunder. I got to go first, so I stole them. What about you?
I might say Hawks.
Yeah,
I'm keen to see them. They've won 6 in a row now, I think. Keen to see them try to push into the playoffs.
Safe to say Jakob Poeltl, then Time Lord, then Moses Brown in that order. I don't know. I mean, you might even make an argument to put Time Lord ahead of Poeltl. They're both probably top 75 type guys. And then Brown is the big question mark who could end up above them or could below. So yeah, that's fine. I'm good with that. Would you flip anybody in that list?
I might have Time Lord first, potentially, but that's fine as well. Like I don't think there's a big difference between Poeltl and Time Lord there.
Yep. What's up, Magic? Wondering how Nurk's return is going to affect Rocco. Yeah, I think he was just getting used to it. You know, Cantor's been soaking up most of the center minutes, so it hasn't been like Covington playing 25, 30 minutes at center. He's mostly just been their power forward, and you know that probably doesn't change that much. Still hasn't taken any shots. I thought his usage might go up with everybody out, but he just deferred to Gary Trent and Rodney Hood and Mello and whoever. So I'm not super concerned about it. You might see his rebounding take a ever so slight tick down, but Rocco's been top 25 for the last 2 months in a row now. So even a slight downtick and you're still getting a really good ball player. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, much the same. He won't be what he has been. He's not going to be a top 25 player, but he should still be a pretty solid top 50 sort of guy. Top 50, top 60.
Yep. I didn't draft JJJ. I picked him up as well as D'Lo from waivers. So I'm just waiting. Okay. All right. I get that. I think D'Angelo's back sooner, but I really don't know. A little bit cryptic on because they said that he felt a little bit of pain, so they slowed him down. But you know, he's getting there, and Grizzlies aren't giving us squat on JJJ at this point, so we'll keep trucking along there. This is from earlier. The answer I think we agreed to was basically yes.
Yeah, and Van Fleet is playing. It's been
beautiful. Do we know about Siakam? Is he back in as well?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. So they're back to, it's just Anunoby, I think, is the only guy that's still in the protocols there. So other than that, they're all available.
We are blitzing now. Looking to trade Colin Sexton for someone. I'm good at, oh boy, we're getting complicated here. Wayne, we might have to leap over this one because we're going a little bit of a lightning round, and this is very team specific. These questions are hard to do, and they're super team specific. I can see Adam is like, the calculator is crunching over there.
Yeah, maybe tweet it at one of us.
Yeah, hit us with that one on social. That's a tough one to do live on a broadcast. The other guys that could be dropped, this was the Wendell Carter Jr. one. Oh, yeah, Garland would be a maybe, but I'd rather drop Carter Jr.
Yep.
Yes, my man. There we go. I just remember I was his friend, like he had a little friend, a little girl that was his friend that spoke in this weird, like, Bobby voice. And Bobby's already talked like this in his high voice. Doug, what's up, my man? This is one of our handicappers here at Hoopball. Streaming, Michael Carter Williams or Talen Horton Tucker? I'll go Horton Tucker as long as Caruso's out.
Yeah, I'd probably go. Carter Williams is a little bit more secure. His role, you know, he's going to play minutes, but Horton Tucker can do more in less time. So, yeah, take a flyer on Horton Tucker.
Yeah, I'll take the better percentages guy also. That's a tough one, man. These guys have all recovered from COVID very differently. I probably would. Yeah, I think I'll go for it because I think they could both hit value in about 24, 25 minutes. And I think they'll get to that mark here. They've probably been doing some conditioning. I'm going to say yes, because you're probably starting to run behind in your games cap league from having these two guys out for a couple of weeks. So I'll say yes, but set your expectations for more of like a top 100 kind of game as opposed to, you know, top 25 or top 40 or something like that. Am I nuts? Would you bench them?
No, well, it depends who you're replacing, I suppose. If, as you said, look at sort of top 80 to top 100 value. So if the guy that you're going to be pulling out of your lineup to put them in is a top 40 player, a top 50 player, then don't do it. But if it's just a sort of a spot that you are not streaming, because you don't really stream in roto as much, but yeah, just temper your expectations a bit.
That's fine, Kenji. We got you, buddy. If I need to move DeAndre Hunter out of IL, who is the drop? It's probably Sadiq Bey for me on that list.
Yeah, Bay or Noel for
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
I'll drop Bay. I like, you guys know I have too much affection for Nerlens Noel. We kind of hit on this one. Yeah, he's not getting traded. Too much on his contract. They'll move him in the offseason or next trade deadline, I think. I mean, this is I think he kind of knew that there's a longer rehab here with the extra seasons on his deal. He's a guy that Thunder took on knowing they were just going to have to wear it a little bit, but let him guide them as a veteran. All right, we're going super fast now, so we're just going to trade off. Your turn on this one. Who do I drop to make room for Spicy P in my head-to-head points league? That Paul George? Who's Spicy P?
That's Siakam.
Oh, okay.
It's not a good nickname.
I need one that does he like spicy food? What's the
I have no idea why it's Spicy P. I don't know. Maybe Devontae Graham.
Or Shadow points league. Or Cantor. Nurk not far.
Yeah, look, I mean, once Nurk's back, then it's probably going to be Cantor. But for right now, it's probably Graham. But if you're looking long term, then yeah, you could preempt that and get rid of Cantor.
Yeah, I don't think he does enough. Category leagues, he might hang on a little bit. Okay, I guess this is my turn on this one. I have Steph, CP3, Kemba, Graham, Sato, D'Lo. Sato's a streamer. Should I trade Kemba or CP3 to keep them? No, I think there's just as good a chance that Sato falls off if they adjust their lineups again. We don't know if D'Angelo might not take another 2-ish weeks to get ramped up. Graham wasn't a 9-cat guy. I don't know if we're doing points or 9-cat here with this one. He wasn't a 9-cat guy before he got hurt. So no, unless you can get something great back. You guys know I love CP3. He's been awesome again. I don't know. Am I missing something here, Adam? I don't want to go too fast, but
no. I think Kemba's been better. Kemba's going to rest games. That's the only downside to him there. But no, I agree with what you said.
Okay, as long as you didn't ask nicely, good sir. Is Jimmy Butler a sell high? I'm inclined to say no. What about you?
No.
Yeah, he's just good.
He's just good. I think he'll be a first round player this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's where he hangs out is usually in that like 10 to 15 range. And he's at 8 this year, which that's not nuts because you got a couple. Towns has had a down year, so he's sort of cleared out a spot for Butler to move up the board. Anthony Davis has had a down year, so he's gotten out of the way. So just sort of by attrition, Butler has moved up from his usual 10, 11, 12 to 8.
I mean, if you can get a top 5 player back, then yes, but I wouldn't be trading him for sort of anyone outside the first round there.
Yeah, I think Towns would be at 13, would maybe the only guy I'd trade Jimmy Butler for that's not currently inside the first round. And then there are guys in the first round I wouldn't trade him for. I'd rather have Butler over Vooch and Kyrie and Beal, McCollum, even KD in front of him. Yeah, so no, Butler's just really freaking good at basketball. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Another Freddie VanVleet. Guys got to get him back into their lineup. Seth, Sato, or Whiteside? I'm dumping Whiteside there. I can't. Like, the other guys are playing.
Yeah. Yep, Whiteside.
Oh, could also drop Garland or Keldon. No, I'm still dropping Whiteside.
Yeah.
And I believe we lightning round our way through that thing. Guys, before you click the window close, please do hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the Hoopball YouTube page because we're going to try to do more cool stuff like this. We're going to get more shows that are gambling focused, involved, live stuff. We're upgrading the system here. We're going to start messing around with screen shares. We're investing our energies, our time into figuring this whole thing out. So more interaction, more stuff with you. So don't miss it. Make sure you click that. Follow the two of us. Let's see if I can. Everything is mirrored. That's Adam down there, and that's me over here.
I'm not even gonna try.
Took me a minute, and I was bungling my way through. And here's one to close us out.
Fournier. Per game, Fournier.
Yeah. There's a lot here going on that may be trade block related, but Barton's on a heater. If you can capitalize on that. And yeah. Oh, Doug says he's only subscribing. You putting it up. I was putting it up at the same time. Okay. Next show, I will do Herbert from Family Guy. There you go. Then no one will ever watch us again. That'll be the end of our entire network.
I'll be able to critique that one because Family Guy's a favorite of mine.
Oh, so you know Herbert.
I do know Herbert.
He's a lovely character.
Yes, he is.
Pedophile. There you go. I'll do a Herbert impression. I'll answer a question about Evan Fournier doing a Herbert impersonation on the next show. Adam, this is good. I haven't done too many of these because I'm always running around like a madman, but you've done a bunch of these with Alan, with Will, with Marcus, with Brent. I'm sure I'm missing someone on our crew here, so I'm going to go over to make sure I don't. Who am I screwing up? Who am I forgetting? Has Steve's probably been on a few. Corbin, I know we're getting him in a couple. It's you guys are busting your humps to get cool content out there. So again, subscribe, follow us on Twitter and subscribe. Parting thoughts, Mr. King.
Yeah, look, tonight, I think it's a full slate tonight. So, just check your rosters. Make sure that, I know I've had to jump in a few times and switch people in and out because of injuries. I'm already looking at moving Van Fleet in and dropping someone and moving Wood in. So, look, I think just, as you said, keep going with what you're doing if you're leading your league. If you're not, take a gamble, look at some of these. And I think really look at the schedule moving ahead because we have got teams that have got 6 more games over the course of the whatever it is next few weeks before fantasy playoffs. So, if you're looking at trade targets, have a look at schedules as well and take that into consideration.
And I'm giving a shout out to Dave Yu, who gifted me a PJ Tucker Top Shot moment, which I thought was just the funniest damn thing that anyone could have possibly done with that service.
I got a new pack yesterday. That was exciting.
Oh, what'd you get? Because my pack was very Dan Bespersy.
Was it? No, I got Andrew Wiggins, Bismack Biyombo. That was a bit of a downer there, and a Mitchell Robinson. So
hey, that was not bad.
Yeah.
You want to hear my 9-cat old man list of guys they threw at me? Serge Ibaka, Maxi Kleba, and then Troy Brown Jr. They just went with like the nice, quiet producers in the damn pack. They knew.
Yeah.
They knew.
Yeah.
They knew. So Dave was kind enough to shoot me a PJ Tucker to really round out my Besperis quartet. I know Troy Brown's not an old man, but anyway.
He feels like an old man.
Works. Can I friend you? Can that be done? Can you friend someone on that?
On Top Shot?
Yeah, I don't
I don't know.
No idea. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Enjoy it. Set your lineups. We'll talk to you guys soon.